Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is another episode of my life. Anyway, so today is going to be a sit down conversation. You guys already saw the title. I wanted to be able to share that story of my life that I never thought in a million years I'll be sharing that with you guys. I'll be even sharing that on YouTube. So let me explain why I'm in a position where I feel like something is speaking to me from the inside to be able to share this story. So I was watching this YouTuber and she really had um a testimony that she was sharing about her life, and it really got to my soul, like deep down in my whew. And as I was watching her and listening to her story and how she had to go through therapy, it really dawned to me that sometimes we hide the stories that mostly influenced us or really changed the trajectories of our life, not knowing that those stories are actually the reason why we're here today. And those stories can be the story of somebody else. And as much as my platform is all about, positivity, entrepreneurship, loving Africa, Cameroon, all of these things, it was really a topic that I was reluctant to talk about because, come on, like the whole purpose of me starting a YouTube channel was because I wanted to share my journey and I wanted to kind of like send positive vibes to people who are watching, people who are questioning should I be investing in Africa. So anyway, let me stop rambling and tell you the story, how everything got started and the reason why I'm talking about this thing today. So the story is something that happened years ago. And I'm happy and glad that at this point in my life, it still did not influence my decision to move back to Africa. Um, yeah. Guys, I don't even know where to start. But anyway, let me start at when I find out something was happening and guys. So this story happened 2006. And at the time, my late grandma from my mom's side was still alive. And we used to always go visit her. I mean, I loved her, okay? Really still love her up to today, even though she's no longer with us on this earth. But so yeah, so I used to go visit her and she was always sick. She was a strong woman, okay? Really strong woman, but she was always sick. And in Africa, and I'm gonna be generalizing because I know it always also happens to other African countries. In Africa, when you've gone to the doctor's office and you have no answers, there's what we call traditional medicine, okay? There are traditional healers that you can go seek for help and things like that. So I remember at the time my grandma was really, really sick and hospitals were not really helping and no answers. She was still having the same type of pain. So at some point, somebody, I can't remember who exactly, but somebody told her there's this traditional healer and he's here in Douala and he's rarely here. I think he came from the northwest region because he was purely Anglophone. I think at the time he was speaking like Pidgin and English, barely speaking a little bit of French. So the person told my grandma that there's somebody who can actually help you. You just have to, he's going to be in Douala and he's going to be at this location working on some other people's herbs. So you might as well just go there so that he can look into what you have. So I wasn't aware of it. Okay. I found out later on. So my mom, my dad took my grandma to the traditional doctor. That's how we call them, the traditional doctor. And he was talking to my grandma, trying to figure out what she has, blah, 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 all of these things. I don't know the details, but all I know is that at some point he looked at my dad because my dad was sitting there with my mom, looked at my dad and he told my dad, "Oh my God, you have a daughter and she's the only one at home because we have four daughters from my parents. But at the time, three of my sisters were already long gone to France because they left when they were really younger. So he told my dad that you have a daughter and she's the only one in your house and she's going to be sick. And when she's going to start feeling the sickness, she's going to go." So my dad being the intellect, the intellectual man, like my dad doesn't believe in these things. So as much as, and I think my dad believes it, let me just erase that. My dad believes it. The thing is that he doesn't take it seriously because he believes at the same time that God is bigger and more powerful than all of these little things that people try to do to people, okay? What you can call black magic. So he tells my dad that your daughter is going to be sick, and as soon as she's going to be feeling the sickness, she's going to be gone. It's going to be too late. Um, my dad doesn't believe it. So my dad tells him straight up, we didn't come here for my daughter. We came here for my mother-in-law, and she's the one that you're supposed to help, not my daughter. I didn't ask you any question about my daughter. I don't want to hear about that. Then the traditional doctor tells my dad that I know you don't believe me, but this is what we're gonna do. I want you. So he put some stones. I think if I remember the story, he put some stones on the floor. Okay, guys, we're gonna be talking about. I don't know if it's black magic or I don't know. I don't want to say witchcraft, but anyway. So he put some stones on the floor, and then he tells my dad, just name each of your daughters. Just call their names, and the stone that's gonna move. This is the daughter that will be, sick. So my dad started calling our names, the girl's name. So when he gets to my name, the stone start shaking. So then he start again and start with our middle name, and he does the same thing. Gets to my middle name, the stone starts shaking. At this point, my dad is already pissed because he's like, "This is not what I came here for." And then my dad was already thinking, like, this man went and looked and research about us, research about who I am, blah, blah, blah. And, he was, that's the conversation that we're having. So my dad was like, nah, this is nonsense. You probably asked around who I am, whatever, whatever, and people told you this and that. So fortunately, my mom was there because, moms, they're not going to let it go. So my mom kept on telling my dad, you know what, honey, at this point, this man doesn't know us. He doesn't know our name. He doesn't, like, we just randomly came here for moms, for my, late grandma. At the time, my grandma. So my mom is trying to, speak sense into my dad, telling him that, hey, I'm worried about this thing because if this is true that this man can see beyond, because there are people like that, they just have the gift to see beyond, okay? So my mom is, she's freaking out. She's like, if this man is capable of seeing beyond, it means that something may be wrong. At this point, I still don't know anything. They don't tell me anything. This happened in 2006. Keep in mind that I left Cameroon January 2007. So that's gonna explain to you. I'm gonna tell you. You guys already know I left from Cameroon, went to the US to further my education, all of these things. But there are some other truths and stories that were missing in the whole story. Okay, so my parents come back home. They don't tell me anything. So I'm not aware of anything. I'm just living my best life, guys. I'm just living my best life. My mom is already freaking out. She's worried, blah, blah, blah. So they have the little bitty conversations. And keep in mind that unfortunately, and I'm going to speak about this, and I think Africans know the truth, okay? If you're an African and you've lived in Africa, then you know this actually happens. Unfortunately, there are always people who are envious of you, always people who are resentful for no damn good reason, okay? Just the fact that you look like you are successful or you are happy, or maybe you landed a good job or a good wife, or you have a big family, or your kids are successful, people are just going to be, there are always people that are going to be disgruntled, people that are going to be jealous, and they're going to be practicing witchcraft. I'm just going to say they're going to be practicing witchcraft or black magic or whatever you want to call it. And if you're Africans, I don't have to go into details, but So, unfortunately, sometimes people get sick. They go to the doctor's office. They do all the diagnosis, everything. They don't see anything. The doctors, the modern medicine cannot see what the person has. But when you go to a traditional doctor, the doctor can actually see beyond because they're more like spiritual, whatever. They can see beyond and tell you there's somebody who wants to harm you, and that person is doing ABCD to you. Because we still have that, African. I don't want to call it juju. I think people call it, juju. We still have that African juju that if somebody pisses you off, you can just look at him and then the person will fall down. I'm just joking, but yeah, literally. So basically, so let me go back to the story. So my parents come home, they don't tell me anything. Fast forward a couple of days later, they go back to the same man. I think it was probably my mom who pushed him, my dad, to be like, you know what, let's go and find answers. Go back to the same man with my grandma again. And the man still tells my dad the same thing. And the thing is that this man was going to leave Douala in the next couple of days. and he wasn't going to come back to Douala until maybe, I mean, this is somebody who is apparently, he's highly requested and always busy. People are always seeking for him. So most of the time, people go to the northwest to see him instead of him, coming to Douala to the south and stuff like that. So anyway, so my parents go back there with my grandma once again, and he tells my parents the same thing. So at this point, this traditional doctor tells my dad that it's not about your daughter per se, it's more about you. Somebody who's envious, somebody who's just, resentful, and the person wants to harm you. And because the person is not able to harm you, she or he is gonna use your daughter because they're gonna use somebody that you love the most. That's what he said. I don't think my dad loves me the most because he has 6 children. I don't want to say that, but I remember that's what he said. Like they want to use somebody that you love the most in order to hurt you. So I think after they had gone there, came back, and then my mom tells me, oh, I think it was like on a weekend, Saturday or something. My mom tells me tomorrow we have to get up and go with grandma, whatever. We're gonna take grandma ABCG. This time around, my grandma didn't go. So I'm still clueless about what is going on. So in the morning, really early in the morning, my mom gets me up. And I'm like, dude, I mean, I didn't say dude, but you get that. I'm like, where are we going? She's like, no, no, no. Let's just, like just wear a dress or something, flip-flops, let's go. She's just rushing me out of the door. And I just went, I'm like, okay, let me at least brush my teeth. She's like, no, 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 don't touch anything. Don't wash your face. Don't brush your teeth. Just wear a dress and let's go. I'm like, okay, this is weird now. So I'm thinking to myself, maybe something happened to grandma. Grandma is not feeling well, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, you know what? I'm also freaking out. So we get to this place where this man was staying at. And I'm like, where's grandma? She's not here. And my mom still doesn't tell me anything. My dad doesn't tell me anything. Keep in mind that I told you he was Anglophone, barely speaking French, but I could understand what he was saying. He spoke in French like, oh my God, I'm just going to translate it. He just spoke like, oh my God, I can't believe these people want to kill this girl. Wow, what a beautiful girl. Guys, I'm not even exaggerating. I'm not, okay? I'm not giving flowers to myself, but that's literally like word to words what he said. Like, what a beautiful girl. They're trying to kill her. Wow, what a beautiful girl. He kept on saying that. So at this point, I'm already confused because I'm looking at my parents like, what? Guys, I've never been, how you hear things like people want to kill people and then you go to this person who is going to shower you with something. So I've never really had to experience anything like that. And this man is just looking at me and then he's like, come here, sit down. I still remember the look on his face, okay? I think he was just shocked. So he's like, can you sit down? And he kept on, he was talking really slow. So at some point he tells me, touch this, do that. He does some little things there, put like a stick of wood on the floor. And he tells me to say my name. And as soon as I say my name, the thing just moved. Guys. I was about to freak out. I was about to be like, whoa, we're not doing this here. I'm just like, and then I'm still calm, in my mind, I'm freaking out. But physically, I'm just calm because I'm like, okay, there's a reason why my parents took me here. They haven't yet told me exactly what's going on. So, and I think my mom later on, she told me that she did that on purpose because she knew I was going to freak out from the get-go, blah, blah, blah. So she wanted me to be clueless. Then he had some leaves. I don't know which trees, but he had some leaves from some trees, and then he cut them into little pieces, put them in a bucket of water, say some little words like, this girl is gonna be cleansed. Like cleanse or whatever, flush all the negativity, blah blah. And then he started telling things like people who are trying to hurt her, they will go away, blah blah blah. So he then tells me to take the bucket of water, go behind closed doors, and kind of like pour the water on myself. I'm like, so I followed the instruction, went and poured the water on myself, and came back like really, I was soaked. Okay, I was soaked, but I still had my dress on. Then he sat me down again and he started chit-chatting with my parents. And then he did some other concoction. And then he told my parents to kind of like I have to shower. I have to put that concoction in a bucket of water when I'm showering for the next 3 days. So he tells my dad that, I have to do that in order to kind of like get people out of my system. I don't know. But one thing that he said that I felt like was so true that I never understood when I was growing up, when I was a teenager, was the fact that he said when she's sleeping, there are people in her bedroom. And guys, oh, I have chills. I have chills because I always felt it. I always felt it. I always felt like, oh, I have chills. Wow. Okay. I always felt like I could hear people's voice. I know this is weird right now, okay? If you're not used to these stories, I wasn't, but I experienced it. So I always feel like there were people in my bedroom and they were talking, or sometimes they were in my bed. Like no joke. Like this is this is what I used to feel. And I used to think I was just having nightmares or it was just a dream or blah blah blah. It wasn't until this man actually said it. Like when she's sleeping, there are people in her bedroom. And I was like, what? So I wasn't just making ish up. These things were actually happening. And for all the parents out there, who have children saying, Mom, Dad, there's somebody talking in my bedroom. Mom, Dad, I saw this old man and stuff. Guys, listen to the children. Because there are so many things outside of this world that you have no clue. And I used to think it was just me, like I cannot possibly think there are people in my bedroom because I locked my bedroom when I went to sleep. But it was actually, apparently it was true because I still can't believe this guy knew that he wasn't in my, anyway, long story short. So went home and I took a shower for the next 3 days. Took a shower. I think it was like on a Sunday that I went there. So I took a shower on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I kind of like cleansed. I took a shower how he wanted me to take a shower, basically, with all the concoction, pouring the water and things like that. And he told my dad, one thing that he told my dad that my dad never did was that if my dad wanted to find out who wanted to harm me, he could also make it happen. Like he could do something so that the person could come to the house or the person will get sick or something like that. And then my dad will find out this is the person who wanted to kill his daughter. This thing is happening. My parents are so confused. I'm still debating if I'm going to stay in Cameroon or I'm going to travel abroad. So as soon as the opportunity to travel abroad came, my mom was like, you out. Like if you get the school admission letter saying that you have been admitted to a school in the US, you out. And when I did the procedure and everything, I was like, Mom, I got the admission from 2 schools, actually 2 universities. And my mom was like, yeah, you're going to be out. And I think because my dad never wanted me to leave Cameroon. So I think he was just on the fence. But at the same time, he didn't want something to happen to me because I was the only daughter at home. So I was like a mini mom at this point because whenever my mom wasn't there, she was traveling, I was the one that was taking care of the house. And my dad was so used to me being there. So it took him a lot to let me go. But I think at the same time, he was so hurt just knowing that people wanted to harm me. And there are some other stories that, of course, obviously, I'm sure that Jean never told me those stories. But I remember when I had a conversation with my mom, she said something like, it wasn't just that story. There were other stories that actually concerned you. And the same thing were told to us that people wanted to harm you. They wanted to kill you. Guys, that was my story. I never, ever, not that I never believed it, but I never thought that people could harm me. I think I just have this thing inside me, this spirit, this thing that I'm invincible. I don't know if that makes sense, but as a girl, I always felt like who could do any harm to me? So even though I went through the process of like going through the traditional doctor, doing everything that he had me do in order to get the person away from me, which I think later on, I'm not sure if my parents found out who it was, but I think it was confirmed from another source who had also seen that event happening in my life, me getting sick and then dying. Okay. I think my dad had the story more than once. So I think by the time this man told him that, my mom was like, okay, enough is enough. We have to do something. Because so when I left Cameroon, I think my parents were just relieved because, yeah. So that was my story, guys. That was my story. And I know many people are still going to be like, but girl, why did you go back to Cameroon then? Like, if this thing happened to you, why are you back? guys, I can explain it. My spirit, my like something inside me just told me over the years that my purpose and what I'm supposed to do is here in Africa, and I'm supposed to be in Cameroon at this season in my life. So yeah, I kind of like dismissed what happened to me. And I was like, God is speaking to me in a way where I cannot ignore it. You know, I have to be here in this season. I'm supposed to be in Africa. I don't know for what reasons, but I've always gotten the message that I'm supposed to be here in Cameroon. So that's why I'm here. And guys, if you're Africans, then you know all of these stories. But that was really my story. And I know many people have similar stories, but I wanted to be able to share with you guys. And yeah, it was scary, but am I still afraid or scared? No, I'm not. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I don't think about it. I don't live my life cautiously, in case something happened to me in Cameroon or something. No, like I don't. I'm so zen. I think I had this conversation with you guys where I was talking about happiness, and I told you guys that if I'm told that I'm gonna be dying tomorrow, I'm gonna be like, thank you, Jesus, for everything. I don't regret anything in my life, and I'm really happy with the life that I've lived so far. So yeah, I don't really have any fear up to now. So anyway, guys, whew, this story is probably long already. I didn't want to make it too long. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think of the story. Let me know if you know somebody around had a similar story. And I'll be glad to kind of hear from other people as well. So don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys later.